Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Let's encode the logic. I hope you all are doing good. In today's video, we are going to discuss about input or output statements in Python, type conversion, typecasting versus type coercion, and also we are going to see some functions for type conversion. First, input or output statements. Real world program needs to be interactive, means need to take input from the user. Python makes use of input of function to read the input. The input of function prompts the user to provide some information on which the program can work and give the results. However, we must always remember the input information takes user input as a string. So whether you input a number or a string, it is treated as a string only. Let us say, in the real world, we need to prompt the user. We need to provide the instructions to the user. In Python, we will use input of function to take the input from the user by giving an instruction. So if you see this example, name equal to input of what is your name. If we execute this instruction, then the user will get an instruction like what is your name. Then the user will type his or her name and that name will be stored in this name variable. Now let's try this. Then you will get an understanding. New file. Name equal to input of enter your name. And then age is equal to input of enter your current age. Print of name plus your plus age plus years old. So this is the program. So if you see, the first line states that I am taking an input from the user and I have given an instruction like enter your name. Then the user will enter his or her name. And in the second line, I'm asking the user to enter his or her current age. Okay, let me run this. This must be saved. f2.py. So every file will be saved with .py extension. So if you see, I got an instruction like enter my name. Go the logic. Enter my current age. I will say some 25. Yeah. Let's encode the logic. You are 25 years old. So, and also, we must always remember the input information takes user input as a string. So, here, let's encode the logic and the 25. These are user inputs. And the Python treat these user inputs as a string. Actually, what we think was name is a string and the age is always an integer value. We think of like that. We thought of like that, right? But actually, that was not happened in Python. Python treats every input as a string by default. Okay. Let me change this program. I will print type of the name. And also I will print type of the age. Let me run this program again. Now you'll see what happens. So I will give my name ABCD and then it was some 30. And if you see, the type of a name is a string and also the type of the age is also a string, but not an integer. Here, the important point was the Python will always treat an user input as a string. Okay. Now, what if we want to take an integer input? Then you need to use this int of function. I will do int of input of enter your current age. Okay. Let's print the name. Also print the age. We run this module. So I'll give my name as some Ram and then 24. So if you see, the name Ram is a string class and the current age of the Ram 24 is an integer class. So in this way, you will take an input. First, suppose if you want to take the input as a float, you will keep float. Then if you run this, enter my name, Ramu, and then I will do 12.3. And if you see, the class was 4. So here the name Ramu is string ast and the name and the current age was a float class. In this way, we will take input from the user in Python. These two lines will take the input. Next, third line, this will print. This is the output statement. This name is a variable. This is UR is some string and age is also a variable. Years old is also a string. We concatenated them. We concatenated with is plus symbol. When this instruction got executed, then in this place of name, we will get the user input, user given input. And here in the age, the user's given age will be printed. So if we observe, project will do. So this is the code, right? Let me run this. Some Harry and some 12 years. So Harry, you are 12 years old. So if you observe, the name given by the user was Harry and we concatenated UR. That's why the Harry and UR was concatenated without any space. And after that, have given a space. And then we printed 12. After a space, 12 is printed. And then I concatenated years old. Before there is a space. Here there is a space. So 12 space years old. In this way, the input got printed. Let us say I will do int of input of dot age. Now let me run this program. Some Harry Potter, 14 years old. It was an error. So let me read it. It was a type error. Can only concatenate string, not an integer to a string. The concatenation rule was you can add only strings, but not an integer. But we did a mistake. The mistake was here name is a string and UR is also a string. But age is not a string. Age is an integer, right? And here, years old is a string. Then what we need to do? We can convert this integer age to a string and then we concatenate. So if we want to convert any integer to some string, we will do str of function. Some Harry Potter now. And the current age was some 23. Okay, 14. And Harry Potter, you are 14 years old. Now there is no mistake because we converted this integer to a string format. So in this way, the IO statements will work in Python. And next, it was type conversion. In Python, it is just not possible to complete certain operations that involves different types of data. It is not possible to perform a string 2 plus an integer 4 since one operand is an integer and the other is of string type. Let us see an example. See, if we do a string plus a string, we will get a string as an output. If we see this example, here the 2 is a string and 3 is also a string. And we converted this string 2 to an integer by using int of function and similarly for the string 3. And then we sum them. Now 2 plus 3, 2 is an integer now and 3 is an integer now. If we do 2 plus 3, then we get 5. Okay, let's do that also. Int of 20 plus int of 30 will be 50. 20 is converted integer, 30 is converted integer, and sum of them was 50. If we do 20 plus 30, now it was 2030. It was in a string format with a concatenated. Right. Another situation in which type conversion is must is when you want to accept a non-string value as an input. In the first time when I wrote the code, this is in a string format. And then I thought like A should not be in a string format. It should be in an integer format. Then I converted this into an integer format as per my will. So I converted a string to an integer. So this conversion of one data type to another data type is called as type conversion. And next, we read that the input of function returns a string. So we must typecast the input to numbers to perform calculations on them. So numbers in the sense integers or floats, as I discussed before with an example. So let us say without converting the data type of the input numbers. So this is a program. X is a variable which will take an input of enter the first number, and y which will take an input of second number. So both the x and y are in string formats. And next, print of x plus y. Now here we are concatenating two strings and the result will be a concatenated string. We know that. So let us say the output was first number was 6 and the second number was 7 and the output was 67. It was in a string format. Let us do the type conversion now. Using int for data type conversion of the input numbers. Now I converted this string format to an integer format. So both the function will take input as an integer format, and then I will do print x plus y, 5 plus 6, that was 11. In such situations, we must perform conversions between data types. Python provides several built-in functions to convert a value from one data type to another. These functions return a new object representing the converted value. Some of them are given in a table. So these are the functions for type conversion. So first function was int of x. This will convert x to an integer. Long of x. This converts x to a long integer. And float of x converts x to a floating point number. Str of x to a string. Tuple of x will convert an x to a tuple. List of x converts an x to a list. Set of x converts x to a settle. And odd of x. This will convert a single character to its integer value. What is this odd of x function? We have never seen it. Right? Basically, we have ASCII characters in every programming language. We have alphabets and also integer characters, and which have some value with them. Let's say I have A to Z, and also I have capital A to capital Z, and also character 0 to character 9. So the value of small a, the value of small a will start from 97 to 122. The small a takes a value of 97, small b will take a value of 98 till the z will take a value of 122. And similarly for the capital A, this will start from 65 to 90. The capital A will take a value of 65, capital B 66, and then capital Y will take a value of 89, and the capital Z was 90. This character 0 to 9 will take a value from 48 to 57. So what are they? These are ASCII values. What is an ASCII value? The full form of an ASCII is American Standard Code for Information Interchange. It is the most common character encoding format for text data in computers and on the internet. In standard ASCII encoded data, there are unique values for 128 alphabetic, numeric, or special additional characters and control codes. Not only for this small a to z and capital A to z and 0 to n. We have n number of characters that we can specify for. Now, the question was, what is the use of ASCII values in programming, right? ASCII is standard data encoding format for electronic communication between the computers, and ASCII assigns a standard numeric values to letters, numerals, punctuation marks, and other characters used in computers. Now, let me do odd of the character C. If you see, it was 99. So 97, 98, 99, right? I will do odd of 3, character 3. So it was 51. So which will start, 0 will start on 48, 1, 49, 2, 50, and 3, 51. That is what printed. In the similar way, we can do it for a character. So it was 65. And the next, oct of x. So this will convert an integer to an octal string. We have already seen this execution of oct of x and hex of x in the literals video. I will provide the link in the description box. You can go and watch it also. So the oct of x converts an integer to an octal string, and hex of x converts an integer to a hexadecimal string, and chr of x converts an integer to a character. Now let's see. I will do chr of 65 now. It given me a capital A. So if you see, order function will convert a single character to an integer, and char of function will convert an integer value to a character. And then unichr of x converts an integer to a Unicode character. And next, dict of x, it will create a dictionary if x forms a key value pair. Okay. Let's work on some functions. Let us say I have a list, like list is equal to 1, 2, 3. And now I want to convert this list to a tuple. Tuple of list. So it was a tuple, which is closed in a parenthesis. And next I will do set of egg, set of list. It has given me a set which is in a curly braces. And then I have an integer like x equal to 100. And then I will do float of x. I got 100.0, and I will do str of x. Then I got a string 100, and then I will do oct of x. Then I got an octal representation of 100. Then I will do hex of x, hexadecimal notation of 100. And then I will do chr of x. I got small d. So in this way, we will do type conversions in Python. And next, type casting versus type coercion. We done explicit conversion of a value from one data type to another. This is known as type casting. So if we see, we explicitly did the type conversion, right? Tuple of, we did tuple of, we did set of, and then float of, str of, oct of, hex of, chr of. These are explicit type conversion, and that way of explicit was typecasting. However, in most of the programming languages, including Python, there is an implicit conversion of data types either during compilation or during runtime. This is known as type coercion. So there are some conversions which will happen implicitly, and where they will happen and when they will happen. They will happen during the compilation or during the runtime, and that type of conversion is known as type coercion. For example, in an expression that has an integer and floating point numbers, if you see 12 plus 3.14, let us compute that. 12 plus 3.14, we got 15.14. Here 12 is an integer and 3.1 is a float. and the final output was a float, right? Internally, what happens was, in Python, this 12 is converted to a float value, and this is already a float, and then float plus float will happen. The final result will be in the float format. If we see in this example also, we nowhere converted this integer to a float value. Then who did this? Python interpreter will did this. The Python interpreter will do conversion implicitly. So that kind of conversion is called as type coercion. The compiler will automatically convert the integer into a floating point number so that the fractional part is not lost. So within the interpreter, we have the compiler also. The compiler will take care of that. So this is about typecasting versus type coercion and some functions for type conversion and then IO statements. I hope you like this video and thank you for watching. Hey folks, if you enjoyed this coding tutorial and found it helpful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Share it with your fellow coding buddies, drop a comment with your thoughts or questions, and of course, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you never miss out on our latest content. Your support means a lot and it helps our community grow. Happy coding!